Okay, we're in there.
Yes, we're there. We got it.
We got it.
Yes.
It's your win.
At first, it was like soul healing counseling is unable to join. I was like, oh my gosh, come on. I was getting a little nervous. Okay,
Yeah,
we got it.
we
We
got
got it.
it. We're here.
We're here. Okay, we did it. Hello, Rich. Okay, we're live. We got it. Okay, where do we start? Do we rate? Thank you, Mama.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. Do we wait for people to join? Like, when exactly do we start?
I mean, we can get started now, honestly, and just kind of flow. You,
Okay.
yeah.
You had someone that was interested in watching, like you personally know someone. Did you let her know that we're transferring to Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, hi, Nana.
Hey, Nan.
Um, well, we can start. We can start.
Well, I think we should start off with just sharing like who we are,
Yeah.
doing this, and we can go from there. Uh,
Okay.
you want to go first?
Uh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. Um, I'm Ashanti, and I am a new content creator. This came about from my sister being a licensed therapist and me needing therapy. And in our little sessions, I was like, other women should hear about this. Other women should know these things that you're telling me because she has helped me through some things. And here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Summer Hooney, APC. I'm a trauma therapist. Um, one of the reasons why I'm so excited and why I'm here is because I believe, especially in dealing with postpartum, the depression, anxiety can be very debilitating and cause a lot of women to feel isolated and crippled with shame. Our
Mhm.
goal is really just to provide a space where you feel seen, heard, and valued. And understanding that some of these things are normal, especially with going through childbirth, going through the process of transitioning. So we also want to provide tools and just a space of relatability, so you
Mhm.
feel safe to know like when these things come up, it's just communication that we just need to do some extra self-care, or maybe we just need to
Mhm.
take a break, and just learning how to listen to that within yourself, so you're giving yourself what you need, because I think the more we neglect that inner voice, that's how a lot of the depression, anxiety can continue to be heightened. So that's the space we're providing for everyone.
That's it.
That's the
That's intro. That's
intro
the intro. Little background.
background. So Ashanti, we'll start off with our first question. Um,
Okay.
talk a little bit about what led us into this space, but you just had and dropped a phenomenal YouTube video, and everyone needs to go check it out at Becoming Ashanti. But you're talking about this mission that you have, postpartum reset.
Mhm.
Just tell me a little bit about the postpartum reset. How did you come up with the name, and how did you know that you needed a postpartum reset?
So I feel like I've been postpartum for a long time because I have been postpartum for a long time. Starting in 2020 when I had my first child, that first postpartum period was really rough for me. I developed some issues while I was pregnant and then immediately after while giving birth. I was in labor for 3 days and that did a lot to my body. So getting accustomed to being a new mom and all the emotions plus new physical issues and limitations, it was just a lot. So I wound up getting on Zoloft to kind of help with the depression, and it didn't. I would say it did its job, but it didn't help me. Like, I didn't feel depressed, but I didn't feel anything. Actually, I felt like more of a zombie. Like I didn't have many I didn't really have emotions, period. And I didn't like that because I'm like, I have a new baby and I'm taking care of him, but I'm struggling to feel that like emotional connection to him because the medicine is just making me feel like I'm just here. Like I'm just here. So got off of that, and the way that I got off of the medicine actually created its own little issues. Zoloft was I found out after the fact that you're not supposed to just drop an antidepressant like that. I wasn't forewarned about this. Um, so what I actually one day I was just like, I normally took it every morning at that point, and that particular day I didn't, which I wanted to stop taking it anyway. So I don't know, I guess subconsciously I was like, whatever for today. And I felt so off. I felt so off when I stopped taking it for that one day to the point where it scared me. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? What's wrong with me? I felt scared. I felt anxious. I didn't know what was going on. Like I'm Googling like what yeah, I know it has something to do with the medication, but I didn't take the medication today. Then I'm like, oh, that's why I feel that way. I didn't take the medication today.
Hmm.
And that's I'm like, it can do all that. I didn't know.
Them
I didn't know
chemicals,
about antidepressants like that.
yeah, they.
So since that scared me so much, I didn't want to take no more. So I just continued that whole little withdrawal period without taking it. And that was its own little thing. So just to answer your question, that was my first postpartum period. And when I started to try to get myself together, like, okay, we're not doing medications. Forget that. I'll just handle it on my own. And as soon as I started trying to claw my way out of it, wound up pregnant at 6 months postpartum, lost that baby. So I was depressed about that.
Yeah.
I had a miscarriage at 10 weeks, and it was hard to kind of process because I'm like, I mean, I'm ready, but I'm not ready. But then, literally a month after I had a miscarriage, found out I was pregnant. A month, literally 1 month. I didn't even get I didn't get my period back. So it's like I miscarried, then a couple weeks later, ovulated, and pregnant with Nash. So, while I was pregnant with Nash, I felt grateful, but I don't know, it was weird. I was grateful, but I was kind of mourning. Also, my dog died while I was like 3 months pregnant with Nash, and I loved my dog. I really did. So I'm like, man, I had a miscarriage. I lost my dog. Then I started developing health issues in that pregnancy. And I was like, this is just too much. This is too much. So just to move it along, it's like thing after thing after thing. It's as if my body does not like being pregnant. And the health issues that I get along with whatever other normal pregnancy stuff, it just trumps it. And it became too much for me. So I dealt with postpartum depression for years because I kept getting pregnant for years and kept like, it's like I just kept doing it to myself. So, me needing a reset was like, I decided while I was pregnant that I'm going to get on birth control after I have this baby. And I'm not doing this no more. So after I got on the birth control, I was like, in the past, I've clawed my way out of that depression and just started focusing on wellness. And then I get right back pregnant. So this time, since I have that kind of block in place, now I feel like I actually can focus on it because the last time that I was pregnant, this previous time was just really difficult for me. And the postpartum was difficult. And I was like, I don't want to do this no more. So, all that to say, that's what led me to get myself like together or try to. That's what made me strive to try to get myself together. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, sis. And I also just appreciate your vulnerability in that. And I also just want to let our viewers know that with postpartum, it can last up to 2 years for some women, depending on their supports, depending on the different things going on in their lives, depending on their stress, all those different things, and all the other compounding effects of entering to motherhood really does impact somebody's mental health, their hormone regulation as well. There's so many different factors. So with that, Ashanti, I know you talked a little bit about how things have compounded for you, but also just wonder what was your history in dealing with depression even before becoming pregnant? Like, was that something that was like debilitating for you, or did you experience any depression at all?
Yeah. Um, how far back are we going? um,
About you as a kid, growing up, there mental health wasn't really talked about. So I mean, I don't, I
let's
don't.
see who's all on this live right now. um,
I
okay.
think we had the language back then, so I don't even.
Yeah.
You can start wherever.
Uh, who's all on here real quick? Okay. Um, it's a little awkward. We giggle too much. Okay. Yeah, so daddy wasn't there.
Okay, we gotta walk in.
Okay, okay,
I want to
okay,
talk about this. So,
okay. You
um,
better make me cry. Okay. Yeah, so that I felt I can literally in this very moment remember as a teenager looking on Facebook trying to find where my dad was, our dad, and seeing him with his wife and children, and just the way that that affected my view of men and relationship. Like, that was very, I think that's my first experience with depression. That's how far back that goes.
yeah, thank you for sharing that, sis, and I appreciate
Yeah.
it because I think as humans, we are wired for connection, but when we go
Mhm.
through trauma like that, it rewires our brain for protection. And
Mhm.
I 100% believe like the relationships that we have with our early caregivers really do shape not only how we view ourselves, how we connect with others, but also play
Mhm.
such a pivotal role in the partners we choose and also like how we are able to parent as well.
Yeah.
I think especially for Black women within our community, specifically with absent fathers being such the norm, it's kind of not processed as much or really like checked in on, especially the woman experience because they're like, oh well, you have your,
Mhm.
and of course we love our mom deep,
Right.
love our mom down,
Right.
and
Very, very.
and like there's also that piece of encouragement, confidence, support that comes from a father that I think the both aspects play such a huge role in a child's development.
Mhm.
And I think like also as a child, how our brain is kind of formatted is that it's formatted in viewing things from, well, if something bad happens, it must be my fault. or if something bad happens, like I need to do something to control it. Like the brain at that point of development is meant to internalize things. So we actually
Mm-hmm.
have the brain matter to like understand things from a different perspective. So then the child then grows up to thinking, oh, I must might not be good enough, or I must like be lacking in some area. Then
That is true.
project to like how they might develop perfectionism, or they might develop different things to compensate with that belief
Mm-hmm.
initially. And I think all those things, especially going through their journey of pregnancy and motherhood, if not processed, can become even more exacerbated.
That's exactly what happened.
Mm.
That's exactly what happened. Um, I have never liked confrontation, I guess, in general. So those feelings I've never expressed to him. So those feelings really got buried. Like I just purposefully just pushed him down. Like it happened, it is what it is. But it's been kind of recent that those feelings are kind of being pushed back to the surface, which is something that you've been helping me with. So, I kind of push those feelings down instead of processing them. But you've been helping me process them, and I think that's really important. I'm still working through it. Like I'm not all, I can't say that I'm just fully healed, but a couple weeks ago I was angry. I was I was angry, and I had to calm down, because for one thing, my husband and I were reading the Bible, and we've been going over the Lord's Prayer just with our children. And when we got to the part about forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, I was like, ooh. Hold up. It's like you notice it, you know these verses, but it hurts when it applies to you.
You feel exposed.
Like when it pierces you, because when you put yourself in such a position to where these verses actually apply to you. Like if I'm not dealing with anger, then you know telling me not to be rageful or be slow. Like I'm already slow. I'm already, I'm there. I'm fine. But no, when I'm actually angry, you tell me to be angry. It's like, oh, you see me, you talking to me. So reading that, and on a day where I actually was feeling unforgiving, um, I was like, okay, it's best for me and best for my relationship with God to try to process this and not be so angry and hateful in my heart, because at the end of the day he's where he is doing whatever it is he's doing, and I'm the one that has all these feelings that I'm harboring, and it doesn't do anything except hurt me. So
Yeah, thank you
yeah.
so much for sharing, sis. And I definitely agree and resonate with your story. I definitely think the slippery slope with choosing not to forgive. And first, I want to give my definition of forgiveness for everyone, all our viewers as well. I view forgiveness as a journey, as a process of engaging in some type of emotional release. Because I believe within the human mind, body, and soul and spirit, when we harbor all this emotional energy and suppress it, and I also want to say our brains are wired to suppress. That's our defense
Mhm.
mechanism, because our brain doesn't want us to feel pain. So it wants to keep us safe at all costs. However, if we're consistently engaging in this pattern of suppression and not allowing ourselves to feel our emotions, it then creates this energy from when we become activated or triggered, and now impacts how we think and perceive things. So a neutral situation could actually cause us to feel rage, because not only are we feeling all the emotions in that current moment, but we're also feeling all the accumulation of the emotions that haven't been processed. So the
Mhm.
powerful thing about forgiveness is that you're processing and releasing that emotional energy So now you have clarity. Now you can actually understand the situation, look at things from different perspectives, because your mind isn't being so clouded with all that other emotional energy that you haven't processed. And I know,
That
especially
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and especially for me, you talked a lot about your journey, how it manifested more on the depressive side, but my journey, it manifested more on the anxious side. So within
Mm,
our nervous system, we have three different states. We have our hyperarousal, and that's when we're like anxious, angry, irritable, annoyed, overwhelmed. And we also have our hypoarousal, where we're like withdrawn, like isolated, disassociated, and
mhm,
our nervous system goes through those different states in a way to cope with all that emotional energy. And for me, mine manifested as anxiety, and I believe because all that emotional energy for me just compounded. Like, oh, you got to make sure you do this so this person doesn't feel this way, or you got to make sure you
mm.
ask and show that you're
People pleasing.
yeah, and then all the different expectations. Because I'm type A, you know,
Mm,
um, I'm very driven. So there's also like this internalized pressure that I created that like if I were to fail, like that's like worst case scenario. So I gotta make sure even if I am working to the place of burnout, even if I am working to the place where it's very much not functional, I'm going to do it anyway. And I think
mhm.
like especially going into the higher education system, like that is praise. Like that mindset is
Yeah,
praise.
it is. It
Just
is.
case.
Yeah.
And then students, we come home from break, and then the only thing we can do is just be in the bed for 3 weeks and reset our nervous system to feel back, you know. And I did that.
Wow.
Like it was crazy, and I think that's why like a lot of college students or it's just students when they leave home end up having nervous breakdowns when they leave is because not only are you going through that heightened stress, but then you're also dealing with all the childhood stuff that may or may not have been processed.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I believe forgiveness is so powerful. And I think honestly that is the first step in any type of healing journey. Like it's and because you
I feel that.
yeah, because you
I
allow
feel that.
like acknowledge your pain. And I
I
think that
just didn't know that those feelings would surface.
huh? What did you say?
I didn't foresee those feelings resurfacing because of motherhood. I didn't foresee that.
Well, tell me a little bit more about that perspective.
I just didn't foresee like seeing my husband being a father to our children and seeing how it's supposed to go. Um, Even like at that point, that was making me angry. That was making me feel some type of way. Because it's like not only did that happen, but now I'm experiencing not angry for them or not angry for my children. I'm very happy for my children, but just more angry at my own father. Because, you know, even if you even if you were off doing your thing during your own relationships. It's not like you've ever lived more than an hour away from me. So at some point, these are the types of things that I'm witnessing that you could have done at some point and you just didn't want to. And then that triggers that little girl in me that doesn't feel worthy, feels left out, feels left behind and all those things. So working through those emotions on top of all the other emotions that just comes with postpartum naturally, that's that's been a big part of my journey this time around as well.
Thank you for that, sis. And yeah, I definitely I'm glad you brought up the little girl in you. Because really what's happening everyone in the brain when we become activated, not only the current version of ourselves becomes activated, but there's previous versions of ourselves that can also become activated as well,
Mhm.
especially if we've been our body has developed this defense mechanism of suppression. It's like that version of ourselves never got the opportunity to communicate how they feel or to communicate the pain that they've been experiencing. And the only way they know how to regulate that, for some
Mhm.
of us, it might just be in anger because it wants to try to protect us at all costs.
Yeah.
So I think it's really in this healing journey, we're also learning how to provide the space for younger version of ourselves to also acknowledge the pain that they feel, because they also deserve a voice in this journey. And when we provide that safe space for them to have a voice, it's so healing for them. And then we're able to really sit in the corrective experiences of witnessing our children become, have that father figure that we desire. Like we can sit and be present in that when we also allow the inner child within us to process some of the things that they lacked as well.
Wow. Okay. I'm on a journey. We've been talking a lot about this. So I'm definitely, like you said, that forgiveness is definitely like the tip of the iceberg, is definitely the beginning. So I'm glad that as I start the postpartum reset, that these feelings have surfaced so that I can address them, because it's really a deeply it's a deeply rooted part of me. So if I'm gonna go through this transformation and change, I know that that's something that has to be addressed.
Yes, and I'm glad that you brought that up, and that's why I clocked it because sometimes I think we can view when we become triggered or activated, or as like, oh,
Hmm.
I did something wrong, or what could I have done to prevent this? But actually, I
Hmm.
think it's helpful to view this as a divine opportunity for healing. I believe
Mm.
sometimes we become triggered, so our nervous system can finally engage in some type of release or some type of deeper level of healing that we've been really carrying the baggage of. We're just not consciously aware of it. So triggers actually serve such a divine purpose into helping us to gain that deeper level of release. And honestly, I think this is the trigger that you had brought us here.
It
Um,
did. It did. It definitely did.
to
Wow.
release, because not only are you learning how to, heal and engage in your reset, but also sharing that vulnerability with others so they can also engage in that journey as well. So with that,
She preaching, y'all. She preaching.
I want to ask you a little bit about we talking a little bit about God and forgiveness. So I also just want to know
Mhm.
a little bit about your journey with God and dealing with postpartum and becoming a mother. How has your divine source played that role for you in your life?
Mm. I think I think I've been asked the question, not literally, just figuratively asked the question, like, how much do you trust me? How much do you like do you love me? How much do you trust me? How much faith do you actually have? Because my faith has been tried. My faith has been mm,
It's gonna be tested.
tested, absolutely tested. And then it's like, how much do you value how I created you? Because I have at times doubted my ability to be a mother, doubted my really just doubting my whole life. It was so many times. I mean, that's the initially getting on Zoloft was because I was to the point where I'm like, I don't want to feel these ways. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here for real. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I can't handle none of this because it was just so much just stacked on top of each other and it felt so heavy. And in that time, I didn't feel like taking it to him was enough, but it was. I just didn't feel that way. And I had to go through a process of learning to trust him, learning to trust his word over my own feelings. And that's actually a process I've had to keep going through until I got the message. Because I've seen where post women in their postpartum periods did not experience what I experienced. Like even emotionally, some, of course you hear about postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, but I feel like women get online and some of them, I mean, truly, if they don't have it, they don't have it. Then, but me looking at that and observing that and comparing myself, like, oh, dang, well, why do I feel like this way? Why am I like this? Why am I handling things like this? Why is my brain like this? Why are my emotions like this? And that's a whole nother weight in itself. So I've really had to learn that lesson of like, trust me, trust my word, trust what I say, and lean on prayer, lean not on your own understanding. That's what I was doing. I was leaning a whole lot on my own understanding, a whole lot. And I'm like, no, but I feel this, I feel this, I feel this, I feel this. And it was, no, but what does my word say at the end of the day? And I finally had to just, it's kind of like I was fighting, like wrestling against the Holy Spirit. And I had to, even that goes back into postpartum reset. I had to just let it go. Like, he's right. He's right. I'm wrong. It is what it is. Let me, my husband has been a really big I'm trying to find the right word to say. He is a preacher, a pastor, a leader, just all of that, because he's telling me these things and I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it because I'm just so deep into just self pity, self sulking. But God has really used him to pick me up and drag me out of those situations and just to bring me back to his word. So yeah.
I, I resonate with that as
Yeah.
well. Um, I went through a similar experience in building soul healing. Like,
Mhm.
I never thought I would be a mental health therapist. I never thought I'd be a trauma therapist. I never thought I would start my own business. Um,
Yeah.
but I just been submitting to God on this journey, on this process. And
Mhm.
one of the toughest lessons I had to learn is how to like relinquish that control. And again,
Mhm.
the the mind is wired for control. The mind is wired for safety. So it's like when you're
Mhm.
telling me not to lean on my own understanding and to trust in you, I'm being fed with all these thinking patterns of me like needing to plan things out, me needing to control these things because
Yeah.
I really need to know. So that surrender process, that submission process, and then also learning how not to dwell within that emotional energy is definitely a journey. Cause
It's
like
hard.
emotions, those emotions, I had to keep telling myself, Summer, your feelings are valid, but they're not facts of the situation, Summer. They're valid.
Mhm.
They are valid. Feel
That's a hard
it.
process.
Yes.
That's a very hard process. That's really a big part of coming out of it's like you have to postpartum. How can I say this? The depression is real, but I have at many times sat in it like I feel this way and I'm sitting here because this is the way that I feel. So then that could look like, okay, I feel this way on the inside. I don't want to open the blinds. I don't want to let the sunlight in. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to talk to nobody because of the way that I feel. When what has actually helped me was not allowing my emotions to dictate my actions. So just because I feel depressed on the inside, it doesn't mean that I can still open the blinds. I can still listen to music. I can still do things to make myself feel better, even if that's not how I truly feel on the inside. No matter how dark and deep I feel on the inside, I can still do things to feel better. Like there were times I didn't want to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to read it. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to. It was times when my husband would be trying to read the Bible to me, and I just kind of mentally check out because I'm like, this is unhelpful to me right now. And I know looking back that that was just my flesh. It was my flesh wanting to dwell in the human feelings that I'm feeling instead of giving that power over to God to handle.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a journey in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree. And I believe emotions serve a purpose. Like
Hmm.
they motivate us for change. They empower us. They
Hmm.
encourage us. Like you said, it's just about not dwelling within that consistently. Because
Yes.
meditate on we are. So
Yeah. And allowing it to shape who you are, what you do, giving it, you can feel your emotions, but giving your emotions that much power to where they dictate how you carry yourself, what you think about, what you do, like that's too much. That's too much.
yeah, I 100% agree. And with us on this topic, I want to ask you your next question. One of the biggest things that you mentioned in your YouTube video was wellness. So how has your value of wellness been basically more of a priority now as you're learning how to engage in this postpartum reset?
Uh, After I had Neo, I was in that depressive state. And one thing that helped me was going outside and going for a walk at this local trail. And I was never very, very big on wellness and exercise anyway. But being like in the deep, deep parts of the feelings that I was in and feeling that kind of release, it made me kind of notice like, oh, it does help. So, that was one of the things that did help me. And that's kind of stayed with me after I've had each child. Like with Nash, it was honestly, that's probably the best postpartum period that I've had because I was super focused on not feeding the beast within me. Like, although I feel this beast, I feel like I am this beast, just not allowing that to dictate my actions. So I was super focused on doing things to make me feel better. Like putting intention behind what I eat, putting intention behind what I do, trying my best to move my body every day. And that actually, looking back, that was the best postpartum era that I've had. Even though I did still feel the baby blues, it wasn't as bad as the other times. So, wellness, it helps. It helps a lot. I don't know what is that feeling like when you get done with a workout, you just so proud of yourself.
It's
Like you can do anything, you got through this, you can do anything.
some endorphins, girl. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
your body engages in so much release after a workout, like
Mhm.
after just breaking the sweat. And even like I'm 100% believer in just starting small and like also giving
Mhm.
yourself some grace because the way society is structured, it's not structured for wellness. It's not.
No, it's not. It's
um,
not at all.
so it's a fight for wellness. It's a fight
Yeah.
to take care of yourself, but
Yes.
what's needed in making sure that we're living that life of fulfillment. So if anyone here is on a journey of learning how to prioritize more wellness in your life, I just say just start small.
Mhm.
Start small. Like even if you just start with one day a week, you go on a 5 minute walk, or one day a week you start a meditation practice. Every time you engage in some type of wellness activity that fills your cup, you're coming back to center. You're coming
Yeah.
back to your authentic self. And that's what's
Mhm.
going to give you the capacity to show up in your relationships, to show up as a mom, to show up in your different roles within what you do. But it's definitely like a mindset switch that has to happen to learn how to prioritize more wellness because, like I said, it's very much a journey. So just give
Mhm.
yourself some grace. And I think it'd be so daunting, especially after not doing it for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, like it just could be so like, oh my gosh, I know where to start. But just start small. Just
That's
it's
really good advice.
yeah, the small things we do over time is what leads to the big change. But so just giving yourself grace because we can't change the past and we surely don't know the future, but we can
Mhm.
do what we can within this present moment. Yes, yes.
Okay, she
Well,
talking. She
let's,
know what she talking about. Because
let's,
I've been feeling like, okay, I know that this will help me, but actually finding time for a 30-minute workout, although we have 24 hours in a day, I feel as though finding 30 minutes should not be this hard, but it is hard.
it,
So, getting the advice to just take small steps. I can't find, I'm not going to say I can't. It's been difficult to find 30 minutes, but I can find 10. 10 is more doable. And I could work my way up to 15, 20, 30. I can now, so that I can do that. I can take smaller steps.
Period. I love that. I love that. And everyone, all of our viewers, Ashanti and I, we're going on this journey. Like, we're going to do the next content thing we do is going to be creating a podcast,
Mhm.
and being able to go deeper on these topics because we're really just touching the surface.
Yeah,
This is
for,
just a
for real.
this is a sneak peek. So if you have any further like questions, comments, or anything of that nature, please feel free to DM one of us. We're actually going to create like
Mhm.
an email chain and stuff.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. We have a lot planned, a lot coming. But again, the intention of this is to really allow you to feel seen, heard, and valued, and understand like the different thoughts that you have, the different emotions that you have. They're valid, and also we just want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're prioritizing wellness, you're prioritizing the things that bring you fulfillment, so you can also show up in the capacity that you desire within motherhood, within marriage, and with all
Mhm.
the things that you're currently carrying. So we can go ahead and start the wrap up process. Ashanti, anything you want to say to our lovely viewers?
Ooh, thank you for sitting in on this therapy session.
I think it was a therapy session.
That's how it feels. It feels like a therapy session because I'm not used to being so open and vulnerable. This is extremely new for me.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this does feel like this feels like a therapy session, but I feel like it's a therapy session that needs to happen and so that other women who can relate can also take something from it because I've only seen a therapist once and she was a little biased. So I was like, I don't trust y'all. But then you became a therapist and I'm talking to you like, okay, so she was wrong. But no,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I think a lot of people, a lot of women are my big focus because of how much I've gone through as a woman and in postpartum. So I really think that it is therapy, but I think that it's an open therapy session. Like, hey, you're not alone. I relate to you. Like, we can get through this. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes, we got this, guys. We got
We
this.
got it.
If we
We
can't take
got this.
I'll take it one moment at a time. Like we're gonna meet ourselves where we are with grace, compassion, and understanding. Um,
Mhm.
so we appreciate you guys. We're gonna come back for the next live. If we can't get it going on TikTok, we'll come back to Instagram. We just want to continue providing that safe space for women, and for people who are embarking on motherhood. So we appreciate everyone for being here, and we see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.